Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is 12 o'clock. This is the 3rd of November, 2025. It's a Monday afternoon. Thanks for joining us. This is a special called meeting of the San Marcos CISD Board of Trustees. We have, what? 6 trustees in person and 1 trustee joining us on Zoom. The meeting is officially called to order. We have a declaration of quorum. We do not have anybody signed up to speak in public forum this afternoon, so we'll move straight into our agenda prep for the November 17th meeting. Dr. Cardona.
Madam President, members of the board, good afternoon. Ms. Kane, I see you up there. We will have on item 4 our public meeting to discuss the district's ratings on the state financial accountability system that we have at this time of year. Public forum, then superintendent's report. At present, there's nothing, but I'm sure we will have some student recognitions for November. Item 7, reports and information. A, academics report. We'll give you an update on the procedures and policy updates for the SLAC that you all will be voting on later.
Did you receive nominations from everybody for that committee? They were due on Friday.
We have 4.
Okay, if you've not been able to find somebody to nominate, I had several parents that expressed interest to me, so I'm happy to pass along some names if people are still looking for nominees.
And we have to have those members because we have a timeline of the next day to have our initial meeting, just to remain semi-compliant with our 90 days from the time somebody challenged a book.
President Halsey, I was just going to ask, are we going to workshop that now here, or is there an expectation of when board members will submit those names, since the deadline was last Friday? So I know you said you had some names. I know we had some conversations with folks on Friday at the ski shoot. Are we going to handle that now, or I guess are we going to give our colleagues a timeline of, like, are you going to share those names out with the board and they have until like Wednesday, or what does that look like?
I think there's no meeting. Is there a meeting before our next meeting? Is this SLAC supposed to convene before our next school board meeting?
They meet the day after.
They meet the day after. Okay, so I think that we can make the names public at the regular meeting.
And then give those folks a day to plan for the next day meeting?
Well, I think they'll have been contacted already.
Okay.
There's no approval that needs to happen. We just need to make the appointment. So once everybody's appointed, the district can go ahead and contact them and give them the outline. And then if we want to discuss it or workshop it or make it public at the next meeting, we've got that opportunity.
And I'm not sure if you saw the invitation included the date. So if you were able to have that conversation with them and they committed, hoping that you mentioned November 18th was the first meeting date. Otherwise, we do plan on sending a follow-up email this week, letting them know that November 18th will be the first meeting. And yes, we have 4. Double checked.
So just to confirm process-wise, if as a board member I've submitted my name, they're going to be contacted when?
If we'll do it today.
Okay.
Yeah, especially if they don't know about the November 18th, we can do that today.
And then for anyone who hasn't yet appointed someone, the process would be, we would have that conversation on the 17th. Is that correct, President Halsey?
Or if y'all
Anybody who
could
hasn't
email
appointed?
those, if y'all could
If
give us
there's
those names
3
soon.
potential.
I mean, sure, but I think everybody will have appointed somebody by that date.
Okay.
That's my assumption, because it's not, the committee doesn't have to be approved by the board.
Right, y'all, just
Right.
your appointment is the approval.
Okay. I
So
was
it's
just.
not like we're debating on
Yeah,
the
no,
nominees.
and again, I'm just trying to understand, I guess, like the process.
So you nominated somebody?
And so they're good.
They're good.
But if I didn't, you would communicate a name with me maybe,
Right,
and then I could potentially nominate them on the 17th.
Yeah.
Or before then. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, the sooner we can get those other 3 names, we'll contact them today with the other 4.
and to be clear, this committee is only 7 people, and all of them have to be parents who are
There
current
will be
parents of current
7
district.
voting members who you have appointed, and they should be parents. And then we have non-voting members that would be staff
Okay,
present. And that number would not exceed the number of voting members.
And they're only advisory in nature at the end of the day. You vote
Right.
yes or no.
My only last question on this topic is, once that committee is appointed, is there gonna be like a public facing, I'm indifferent to this, I'm just curious, like, if I was a parent or a citizen, community member, and wanted to go see who like was on that committee, is that a part of the reporting requirements by the state, or is that in state legislation
I
currently?
haven't seen anything verbatim, like you must publish their names, but we will have that done. And we've mirrored on the Slack webpage, we've mirrored your board webpage where there's the date, the minutes, the link to the audio or visual recording, and the date that the recommendations will come to the board. So we've kind of just mirrored your table, and that's where they'll see a list of members.
In that same vein and thought process, are they required to have a public comment period at that meeting?
We will not have public comment. And that's in the bylaws that you'll hopefully be approving.
Okay. Last question, and this was asked by my appointee. She jokingly said she was willing to read every book in its entirety to like weigh in. What is going to be provided to them as committee members as they make those decisions, and what does that timeline look like?
Yeah, so this first one will be a quick turnaround, but ideally, as soon as we get a challenge, they get the title and any sort of background information we can provide. They'll be encouraged to read the text in as much entirety as they can manage and kind of get themselves up to speed. At the first meeting, we will do sort of an orientation, primarily walking them through the bylaws that you'll be approving, and a lot of that is in the bylaws.
Any questions?
Quick question.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, because we are seating a couple of different committees, on this particular one regarding the SB 13, are they allowed to be district employees?
No, this is the one that is strictly for the review of books that we are acquiring or books that have been, had a concern raised about them. And so it must be a parent of a current student who is not also an employee of the district.
Okay, that's what I just wanted to verify. Thank you.
Current enrolled student?
That's my understanding. Yeah.
That's what the law says.
Yes.
That's what we decide. That's what
No, that one is.
the law. Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
Can I just double check? I sent my nominee late. Ms. Matijewski, did you receive that email?
Received, thank
Yes.
you. Received.
Thank you.
Item B, our auditors will be presenting the 2024 Comprehensive Financial Report. Item 8, approval of consent agenda items. Item 8A, approval of the minutes of the regular scheduled board meeting on October 20, 2025, and for the special board meeting on November 3rd, 2025. Item B, consider approval of district and campus improvement plans. Item C, consider approval of board policy update 126, and I believe Ms. Munoz gave us a kind of an update on. Just me? Oh. You'll share that. Item D, consider approval of quarterly financial and annual investment report. Item E, consider approval of board policy CH, local purchasing and acquisitions. You want to talk about that?
So that is a local policy that we are updating to be in alignment with our legal policy that is changing due to the procurement threshold changing from 50,000 to 100,000. The local policy currently states that anything above 50,000 is required to be approved by the board, and we wanted to align with the new law for 100,000. So any single purchase that would be over 100,000 would be required board approval.
Item 8F, consider approval of 2025-2026 budget amendments, and currently have 2 or 3? 3.
Okay, so currently we have 3 that we're going to present. One is an increase to salaries, and this is for some service credit adjustments for employees that were going from aide to teachers. Ms. Munoz can add that if y'all have any other questions to that, and that's about $45,000. Also, the high school is requesting some money, just moving from function to function for some technology needs. Due to the cell phone policy, they're needing some additional technology, so that is just a function change. And then we have a board item here for community action because of the shutdown of the government right now. Community action usually supports us with 1 teacher and 3 aides. Because we're not getting that funding, we need to pay that from our general fund, and that is $175,169.
Madam President, if we could just move that out of consent to item for action, please.
Yes, and that third one is for Head Start, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Move item F.
Yeah.
All right.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to request that we're going to need to add another consent agenda item. We've been working with the different furniture vendors to select a furniture vendor for New Mendez Elementary School. And we will have a name or names for you by this November meeting. So we would like to add on G, consider approval of selected furniture vendors for the New Mendez Elementary project.
Madam President.
Yes.
I have no issue with this item, but since it is bond dollars, and obviously I'd want to advertise what those bond dollars are doing for our community and in preparation for the Mendez Elementary School, I would just ask that it's not in consent agenda.
Yeah, I'd like to move it to regular agenda, and I'd like to have, or to the regular action items, but I'd also like to receive in advance a list of the furniture that we anticipate needing to purchase. Because we do have a school full of furniture. So I'm hoping that first of all, we're reusing and repurposing the furniture that we have in the best way that we possibly can. Obviously, some of it won't be able to be reused, but that would be my preference. So I'd like to see us be purchasing as little furniture as we have to, but I'd also like to know what it is we're purchasing.
Okay, we are in the early phases of the process, and so we actually this week are meeting with potential vendors to see who we'd like to move with moving forward to get into the more detailed discussions of furniture. So I don't know, Mr. Grunwald, that we would have that information at this time.
Okay.
I'd be happy to share it at the December meeting if you'd like. We just wanted to bring to the board the vendors that we would like to work with and move forward on selecting. We won't have any pricing, any of that information at this time.
That's fine. And also, again, I'm obviously only one trustee, but my preference is to reuse what we have first. So
Understood.
thank you.
Thank you.
I also have an item, and I don't know if y'all want to put it in items for action or consent, but it is another detention water quality inspection access easement for Miller Middle School. And this is the front detention pond that's in front of the school that we need to close a site permit out. And this is a process to close that permit out, which is outstanding from 2018.
Is that something that's still requiring approval from the city?
Yes.
Then I think we need to put it in items for action.
Okay.
Anybody else?
All right, item 9, items for action. A, Board of Trustees consider resolution to vote for candidates for the Board of Directors of the Caldwell County Appraisal District. Item 2, consider resolution to vote for candidates for the Board of Directors for Guadalupe Appraisal District. Item 3, consider resolution to vote for candidates for the Board of Directors of Hayes Central Appraisal District. Item 4, consideration and possible action regarding policy procedures update of the SLAC and the appointment of SLAC members. And then we have the easement for Miller. We'll move the furniture vendor for Mendez and the 2025-2026 budget amendments down to finance. Item B, procurement, consideration and possible action regarding resolution authorizing the transfer of the surplus bus to the City of San Marcos for Fire Department pursuant to a public purpose including possible delegation of authority to superintendent / designee to finalize a bill of sale to effectuate the sale. It's really the fire chief, Les Stevenson, has asked us for a bus. We have a bus that kind of, instead of auctioning off, we could donate to the city so they can use for training purposes. So both city staff and school district employees would benefit, or school safety officers, school SROs would practice training with the city in the event that something were to happen. No, not yet. Not yet. And then item 10, closed session is authorized by section 551.071, 551.074, 551.129, and 551.076 of the Texas Government Code. Deliberation regarding safety and security, including safety personnel systems, intruder audit reports, infrastructure, and/or devices if needed. Currently, I don't believe we have anything, but we are in the middle of auditing school safety audits. In the event something bad happens, we keep that on there.
All right. Is there anything anybody would like to add to the agenda? Ms. Garcia?
Yes, we also probably need to add to items for action, I guess, is our donation from the San Marcos Education Foundation that needs to be approved.
What's that donation again for?
It's from Mr. Navarrete. He donated $75,000 to help with our person who really does all the work for the fundraisers and stuff, to pay for part of her salary.
Okay.
And he gave a 3-year commitment, $25,000 a year for 3 years to assist with that.
To offset those costs? Yes. Okay. Anybody else?
Yes.
Mr. McLaughlin?
I would like, at least maybe, this could be in the superintendent's report, but considering the threats to, from federal shutdown related to food relief or supplements for our kids, I'd like to understand, maybe in the superintendent's report, what the district can or could do if the SNAP funding were to go away between now and the end of November with regard to potential, well, you can tell me, but maybe in your report?
Yeah, I've got Mr. Cruz researching some things that other board members have asked, so I can give you a report on the answer he gave me.
Okay.
I think that.
And
Go ahead.
I'd like to add to that, if any of our breakfast and lunch money is in jeopardy, and at what point.
And then do we also need to stack on top of that the Head Start issue?
So the Head Start issue is already an agenda item for y'all to vote on for those, it's 172,000. That y'all are gonna be voting on those positions until they can figure out the reimbursement. Our food nutrition, we
Currently,
receive.
we haven't received any notification on changes.
Correct.
But I'm talking, I mean, I know that there's the money factor, but we're talking about supporting potential families through maybe not having that option if they were to be shut, and what that would look like for the district.
I believe it's those 3 positions, correct? It would be funding permanently those 3 positions.
Right. Though that's what currently they are employees. Community Action was just reimbursing us for those 3 positions. So this would be just paying it out of general funds, but the program is still
Right, at this time.
Yes.
But if something were to happen with that program, the way that it's been discussed, I'm not talking about just financially, we're talking about logistically. We're gonna have people who are not gonna have places to send their children, correct? So that's kind of what I was looking, I don't know if there's anything that's gonna be, if we need to discuss that at all, how that might impact.
Dr. Cardona, they would still qualify for Bonham's program based on their qualifications, and since they're 4 years old, they would still be counted for enrollment, and we would still continue to accept and enroll them as students.
I think there's that, but I think that there's another issue, which is the fact that our Head Start at Bonham is continuing in some, presumably in some shape, but the other Head Starts in town are not continuing. My understanding is like effective this week, they're not continuing. So I think that we should be thinking as a district about if we have a way to ameliorate that situation. If it continues, like maybe even second semester, maybe there's not something we can do next week, but maybe there's something that we can do second semester if this problem continues. And I would say also with the district response to the food insecurity and the removal of SNAP benefits, we need to possibly also have an action item, because if the district is talking about expending funds to address that, then we should probably be voting on that and not just.
Well, first we need to find out if it's legal to actually do that.
Right, but I'm saying that we maybe should have an agenda item.
Yeah.
Correct.
Madam Board President,
Go ahead.
so obviously I've been limited of who I can talk to on this board due to TOMA and risk of TOMA violations. I had talked to Trustee McLaughlin and yourself, President Halsey. I know one of the things that we kind of workshopped informally was, is there a way that we can send some type of survey out to families asking how the federal shutdown has impacted them? So whether they are recipients of SNAP or TANF, whether they have children enrolled in Head Start programs. Quite frankly and honestly, I don't know the gravity and the breadth of impact of the federal shutdown with our families, so I wouldn't even know what questions to ask them. But before we workshop how to provide childcare, how to provide food service, which I think are both things we need to consider in the near future if the crisis isn't resolved federally, I think it'd be a good idea to know what exactly are these issues that are impacting our families, how they're manifesting. Maybe we get respondents back saying we're good on childcare, we're good on food, maybe we don't have to worry about these things. But without knowing the data behind that, I think it'd be very difficult, as admirable as I think all of my colleagues' intentions are, including my own, to try and address that. It's just hard to do without knowing where the need is. So I don't know if that's something, I don't think that requires board approval to send out a survey to staff, to employees and staff and families. Because again, I know we've had conversations of our employees on food service. If we pay them too much, they run afoul of their affordable housing subsidies, right? And so I don't know how many ISD employees have children in Head Start programs who now don't have childcare as of today. So again, if there's interest in that, I would see that as like a logical first step. And then if we have some type of, agenda item for the 17th that could flesh out that data and have those conversations, I'd be in support of that.
Yeah, I think that we should put it to our administration to use their resources and their knowledge and their people to figure out, ascertain what the need is, and then bring back some ways in which we can address that need.
So we're going to add an action item, though, like kind of a catch-all actions related to report from something.
Something I think that ways in which the district is addressing the needs of our students based on the federal shutdown. I mean, something, I think Mr. Cruz would have to give us the exact language on that, but something like that it allows us to authorize expenditures if that's what we feel like we have to do.
Because a week ago, I thought it was going to be really bad, like by now, but obviously the moment passed. But that doesn't mean by the 17th we won't be in a different scenario.
Right.
So I think having something on there lets the public know that's something we could act on.
Does that make sense to you, Dr. Cardona?
Somewhat, but I mean, we're in an uncharted
Right.
situation, so I don't know what the good answer is. But a holistic approach to how the district could be a social service along with an institutional service as well. So that's what I'm thinking. I mean, off the top of my head, I just got to figure out how that survey looks. Some people are very guarded with that information.
And maybe the survey isn't it, but I would think that if we talk to our communities and schools, liaisons, and our counselors, many of our staff at our schools is going to have some sense of who's being affected and how they're being affected and immediate needs. I mean, I've talked to some staff already that have identified some of those concerns.
Now the question for me is, if we had a pool of money we could dedicate to mitigate some of these impacts, where do families feel the biggest need? You know, and that might be around food insecurity, or it might be around childcare they've lost. I don't know. I'm fortunate not to be wondering every day about that for my own family, and so it's hard to design a policy that answers we don't even know the questions, right? We don't know what's most pressing, and I think we're not asking parents communicate specifically, parent 634 need this much food. I mean, I just need as a policymaker, help me with a general sense of where that would be.
All right. Other questions or items that we need to add to this agenda?
I did want to ask the board if it was something we have received some further information from our legal team with regards to the sale of the property that we have on Lee Street, and I wanted to see if that was something you would like to add as a closed session, or some information that was received from legal that needs to be provided to the board, and I'm just not sure which means you would like to receive that information.
As an individual trustee, my position is until there's an offer that we could accept to form a contract, I don't need this back on the agenda. I mean, if legal has some direction about how a future hypothetical offer would be handled, I think we can take that up when there is one. But putting this on every 2 or 3 months when a lot of community members feel a real vested interest in the outcome is just generating stress that is unnecessary.
Understood. Would you like, there was a memo that legal prepared. Would you like to receive? It's an informational on the procedural process of selling the property, and it's something that I could provide via email to the board.
That'd be fine with me.
Yeah.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
So while we're on this topic, I did have a follow-up. I guess my question is, well, I'd heard from members of the Education Foundation that it had been brought up in a meeting that there was a potential offer or applicant or interested party. Is that true? Has there been additional communication since our last time discussing this, that someone has come forward expressing interest?
From the city, county,
or
or
from anywhere?
I have received 1 or 2 calls, 2 calls, I believe, just people that haven't even identified themselves that just were interested in more information about the property. By no means has anybody given an offer. They were just asking if the property was for sale and they'd like more information about it. So that information is received.
True or not, I guess my concern or frustration is, I don't know how we're deciding to communicate these things to the general public or members of the administration or to staff or in mixed company, but to echo Mr. McLaughlin's sentiment, when I hear from someone that it was brought up at an Education Foundation meeting, and I'm not aware of it, right? And I'm getting phone calls of, well, we heard from somebody that the ISD has an offer. You can imagine how frustrating that is for me as a board member because of how politicized this item is in the community. So I guess my hope or my expectation moving forward is, unless it's coming to us as an agenda item, unless it's coming to the full board, the anecdotal conversation of this topic is creating more frustrations, not only for me, but for community members who are then having to politic or talk to folks or lobby my colleagues on the board one way or the other. But yet again, it's knowledge to me that there might even be a potential offer. So I guess my ask is, moving forward, unless it comes through this process, please, as best to the ability of all staff, to keep these kinds of conversations private. Because again, if someone calls in and says, hey, I might be interested, can you send me the information? The way in which that is communicated to the general public can create concerns, frustrations, what's going on, so on and so forth, right? So just a friendly request.
I just want to clarify on that, though, that this topic has never been agendized at any Education Foundation meeting.
No, but
and it hasn't been, the superintendent hasn't
in casual
made
conversation.
I mean, there's very little we can do
again,
from keeping people from gossiping, but I'm just saying, the superintendent did not report it out. Okay.
So the issue is, if the gossip is coming from staff, it's creating frustrations in the
I just want to be clear that
Well,
this
we've
has
already
not
told
been
you it's not.
reported on it.
If you got anything more specific, let me know. But we didn't talk about it in Smith. And I can't control gossip.
I mean, I think next time, it's not on our topic today, but
Well, we just want to know because he and I have to deal with it. And you say one thing, everybody says one thing. We're in closed session and we have a discussion, and then we come out and things come out. Just tell us what it is you want. Right now, we've been told by the legal team that a letter from the city manager can precipitate an official offer. So, you know, Marcus and I are the only two that I don't think anybody else in this room deals with it. Just he and I are the only two dealing with it. So we just want to know. We're as frustrated as everybody else with this piece of property.
you want to know what?
We want to know if we want to bring it because we did get a letter from Stephanie and from the county judge that now our lawyers are saying potentially could it be considered an offer. So do you want to discuss it? Do you not want to discuss it? If it were up to administration, we'd just drop that property altogether.
Well, I think if our lawyers say it's an offer, then it needs to come to the board as an agenda item for the board to discuss. If the
what we're
lawyers
asking.
say that it's just discussion and questions, and if you're answering phone calls and taking phone calls from people who have questions about the property, that's your job, and I don't want to be involved in it. But
Yeah, we prefer to just drop the issue.
But-
But we have an open bid, we have an open RFP on that property. If you want it to stop, then just tell us to stop the RFP and we'll stop it. And then all the gossip will stop on that property. You can tell us right now.
well,
If
I
you want us
think
to drop the
if there
RFP.
is an offer, if something has come to the
It's really
district,
the city and the county, and
So it's a different letter than we previously received.
that's part of the conversation I think that Marcus wants to have with you, because the lawyer on one side is telling us, I don't think they understand how to sell property. So Marcus is trying to mitigate gossip, but one lawyer's telling us need to educate the board on what it is they actually need to do to sell property, because some of you are under the impression you can do certain things and we cannot do certain things. And then I know a big concern of some of the board members is them digging into the dirt, which is about where we're at with this piece of property. That's the next step. And we don't want to go there because we know if somebody steps foot on that property, y'all are going to hear about it.
So I have a follow-up question. When we first discussed the letter in question, we had a member of legal counsel back there who told us the things we could and could not do. Who's telling us now the other thing? The same person that we're
So,
paying?
The same person.
If it's the same person that we're paying, I'd much rather have a conversation of why they're still our general counsel if now it's a new conversation on the exact same letter. Is it the
No.
exact same letter?
It's not the exact same letter. So after closed session, you asked us to reach out to Ms. Reyes, which is what I did. And a letter was drafted. This is this other letter that came
Okay.
out. That's what we did. We took your direction from the board and we reached out. So now we're at that original letter that they sent, plus the one when we responded to them, and now they've got more information. But if we can all solve it, if we just drop the RFP and then we can just close it out, and then nobody will talk about the property anymore.
okay, well, if the two letters together constitute an offer, then I think that we do need to discuss it at the November meeting, and I think if it's an offer, we have to discuss it in closed session. So I think we need to put it on the executive session.
And you tell us one way or the other, and we'll be done with that property.
Unless,
I mean, I still think it's a good idea. The board initially thought it was a good idea to sell it for full value. I still think that's a good idea.
That's part of the
But
discussion. That
But
value
giving it
went up,
away for
apparently.
1.2, 1.5, 1.6 million, that's not a good idea. But if someone wants to pay the 3+ that it's worth, I'm always open to it. But if we need to put it back on the agenda, I just make sure I just want to hear from whoever said that this might constitute an offer and that we don't know what we're doing. Make sure they're available for the closed session.
I didn't know. She didn't say you didn't know what they were doing. She
Oh, I heard
said
that.
that's what you took.
Well, we can roll the
She said
tape.
y'all are
That's what I heard.
misinformed
We don't know how to
about
sell property.
Yes,
Okay.
it's misinformed.
Any other comments, questions, items that we would like to add to the agenda? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you very much. Have a great week. Thank you to Mr. Hubenak, who is walking around, for all of his help and his work these many years of wonderful service. We will miss you. We appreciate everything you did to get this building up and running, among other things, and we wish you all the best, and we hope that you won't be a stranger.
No, he's got till the end of November.
Okay, good.
He gets one more library.
Oh, but then let me bother.